All right, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report here on Traveling on Everyday Spend. Got a few things to cover today beyond the devaluations that you saw on the thumbnail. We've got lounges to talk about, opening and closing, a few disappointments that we're also seeing, as well as some other news that we definitely want to make sure to share with you today. So let's just jump right on into it. All right. So as far as when we are looking at the credit card offers, not a whole lot has changed. So I'll breeze through this pretty quick. The Hilton credit cards that have still been through January 14th still ends up being the main ones for American Express these days. And we'll touch on a little bit about the Hilton Aspire and its diamond status and how Hilton is going to be changing that their structure that is likely to impact the Aspire probably sooner than later, that we'll talk about. And then as far as the Alaska cards, they have stabilized at these new bonus offers that they currently have for the Summit, the Atmos Ascent, and the business credit card. And one reminder that I'll touch on now that we're going to talk about another set of cards is that the consumer credit cards, if you are going through Built, if you have rent, you can use these personal cards, the consumer cards, to get 3%, 3x on your rent and get that in Alaska miles. Now, the downside is you do have to pay that 3% transaction fee. So you do have to determine if there is enough of a benefit there for you. But I think some people do end up forgetting about that. And if you're paying rent, I definitely don't want you to miss that as an option. Capital One, keep in mind that the Venture One, the Quicksilver, and the Saver Rewards, that $100 extra bonus for that travel credit, that ends December 9th, so only a couple days from now. So if you do have interest in any of those cards, you're going to want to make sure to take advantage of it now. As far as the Venture X and Venture Business, those still have the elevated offers, but they definitely come with a significant increase in the required spend, especially on the personal one, going from 75,000 points to 100,000 points, because now you're at $10,000 that you need to have as your minimum, as your amount to trigger it. As far as Chase, we still have the Chase Sapphire Preferred with the elevated offer from 60,000 points up to 75,000 points. So that's good to see. The Chase Sapphire Reserve, I still have it up here as an intro bonus offer, but the reality is that they have now made that essentially standard. There is no banner on that card anymore to say that it is a limited time or even an extended offer. As we see with the business Sapphire Reserve, they now say that it is extended as far as the 200,000 points that are available. So Chase is continuing to try to get people to take that card. They also have the Prime, Amazon Prime card, which is an excellent card. If you're dealing with, if you have Prime already, there is no fee to have the card, and you will now get an elevated $250 gift card just for being approved for the card. No minimum spend, no nothing. Now that was supposed to have already ended, but they have extended that offer now through January 8th. So even if though it's not Black Friday anymore, there's still an opportunity to get some elevated benefit from the Amazon Prime card. Still have the Southwest credit cards on the personal side with the 85,000 points for the first 3 months if you're spending $3,000. That applies to all three of those consumer cards. The Amtrak Guest Rewards card from First National Bank of Omaha, that one is going to be ending on the 16th. That's a $99 annual fee credit card with that doubled its welcome bonus to 40,000 points after $2,000 in spend for the over a 3-month period initially. Citi still has the Strata Elite, Strata, and the Citi AAdvantage Globe card, which is their mid-tier card for American Airlines. Those still have those bonuses as well. Now, when we talk about transfer bonuses, it's not surprising that we're not going to see a whole lot of transfer bonuses as we near the end of the month and especially the end of the year. Right now, we have American Express with Virgin Atlantic through December 11th at 40%, Finnair with Chase ends on December 31st at 20%, and Aeroplan goes through January 5th with 30% for that one as well. Now, as far as the points and miles opportunities, as I always talk about, I only try to highlight the offers that are ending soon or just started. I pack as much as possible in the description for you to be able to review everything that I've been able to find for that. So, but we do have some ones that have started and kind of ended or will be ending soon. Alaska Airlines, that is up to a 100% discount. Your mileage may vary on all of these. We're seeing a lot more of cases where these offers are not just automatic standard to everybody. There are cases where you'll see it more often, but not guaranteed that every person will see it. And that's unfortunate. But as I always say with me, if I see it, then you're probably going to be able to get it. And I do see the 100% discount on purchasing Alaska Airline miles. Turkish Airlines has up to a 20% discount on the base fare, not including taxes and fees. That's going to be ending this week, December 10th. And this is for travel between January 10th and March 18th of 2026. And you're just going to want to make sure to use the code for whether it's economy or business. And economy is ready for next, business is fly prime. But keep in mind, there's only 1,000 uses that Turkish has made available for that business discount fare. So when it's been spent, unless there's changes made, it's over. So you can use it, but if you do and you see that it's not available, they've reached their limit. Now this does require round trip reservations, and there are some routes that are excluded, but I'll have a landing page for you to be able to see that. United has up to a 100% bonus if you're purchasing their miles. You have until December 24th for that. And they go from 30% up to 19,000 miles, 65% between 20 and 39,000. And then anything over 40,000 will get you to the 100%. Keep in mind that does bring it down to 1.88 cents per mile, but that does exceed the quote unquote baseline of 1.2 cents per mile. But as I've always told you all, you make the determination of how valuable a redemption is or is not. It's just a baseline for you to be able to use as a measurement. IHG is back out with its 100% bonus. We do see these constantly. So while it sounds really good, it comes up often. There's no rush that you need to do with that one. Purchases needs to be done by December 11th. Marriott has up to a 40% bonus, which is going to be ending this week as well on December 10th. And that is up to 40%. 35% is between 2,000 and 39,000 points. And then 40,000 to 200,000 is the 40%. It's 0.89 cents per point, which is slightly more than the 0.7 is. That's a baseline. Copa Airlines has up to a 90% bonus, and that runs through December 21st. If they deal with a fixed award chart, and at 90%, you're looking at 1.58 cents per mile. Their standard one, basically a good standard deal for them is flying from the US to Panama on their particular airline, and that is 17,500 points miles in economy or 30,000 miles in business. So that is an option if you're looking to go to Panama. And let's hit a couple of quick notes to be able to share with you on some information. And I want to make sure to say hello to Stacy's Travel Points. Good to see you. Appreciate you always coming in. And definitely make sure to check out Stacy's channel. Unfortunately, haven't had a chance to check out her latest video, but she really does a very good job on providing some really good information in her own way and format. And I think that's the beauty of all of us that do this as a hobby, is to be able to see how each person has their different interpretation and spin on things. So definitely make sure to check her out on her channel. And Sleepy Rod's appreciate you stopping in. Is there ever a use case for buying United miles? I can never get a redemption with them above 1.2, 1.3 cents per point, but their miles cost 1.8 cents per point. And that's a very good point with that, Sleepy. That it's always is going to vary when it comes to buying points in miles. United is definitely not normally a good option and I don't want to ever say anything in absolutes. There may be some times where you might find that there is a deal that of maybe a flash sale that United is doing, and the discount that you're going to get from that, coupled with buying points on with the reduction, makes enough sense, or that you're going to be topping off to reach a certain level. But when it comes to airline miles, they are habitually difficult to be able to get very good value out of, except for kind of the standard ones: Alaska airline miles, American airline miles, Air France KLM Blue Flying Blue points. Those are ones that seem to always have something that you're able to do, whether it's under their metal on their airline or with a partner airline. I've not been a person that normally tries to accumulate Air France KLM points, even though I knew that they were supposed to be pretty good. But my trip to Taipei is a perfect example of where something came up and it was through them. So flying China Airlines, I was able to do business class with Air France KLM at 60, I think it was over, still over 60,000 miles each way in business class to Taipei. And then there was a new deal that popped up that made me change my itinerary, where now I'm not going to stay in Taipei the entire time. I'm going to go to Shanghai, which had a really nice, I think it was 15,000 points to fly business class. And that was to either Shanghai, Kuala Lumpur, and I think there was two other places. So so you're right that that United does not normally do well for buying points and getting outsized value. I don't normally see that. I normally try to get it out of the hotels, but you're exactly right. It is a difficult one to be able to swing, but you always have to evaluate it based upon what deal you may have found or a flash sale that normally came up. So definitely make sure to keep that in mind as possibilities, but you're exactly right. It is not the easiest to be able to pull off. And Stacy, definitely no thanks necessary. I really do enjoy watching you, and I hope that more people end up seeing it because it is a different interpretation that I like watching. So thanks so much for coming in. Let's go back to, let me get this back up. There we go. So as far as a few of the quick notes that I want to share with you, and these are ones that don't have big things, big information, but some things to look at. And I talked about Hilton as far as the whole diamond status. That has been not the holy grail, but it's basically been a very good benefit of the Hilton Aspire card, in addition to that free night, is having top tier diamond status. And while you may not get as much out of it here in the United States because of people having that Aspire credit card, if you're going overseas, you probably are getting more mileage out of that status versus here in the United States. But we've seen a structure change by Hilton because of how easy it is to have diamond status. And we talked about the Diamond Reserve status that is now in place, which is now above diamond. Now we also know that the rumor of the Hilton Honor Society, which is an invite only, which obviously a lot of people will not get access to, that's going to require a heavy amount of spend and a heavy amount of nights. But that's still another tier above. Now we've dropped diamond from top tier to third. And the Hilton Honor Society level will be starting in the first quarter of 2026, and we'll get details closer to that point. So now you have silver as the starting level, gold, which is very easy once again to get because you've got American Express Platinum that gives you that status. And it's not one that's necessarily hard to get, even through Hilton credit cards. Then you have Diamond Reserve, and soon to be the Hilton Honor Society. There were some numbers that tells us why this is happening. There are estimated to be 235 million Hilton Honors members. And remember, when we're talking about that, that's free and above. 1.25 to 1.37 million have diamond status. 50 to 55,000 have Diamond Reserve status. Obviously, it'll be significantly lower for the Hilton Honor Society, but I think it's realistic for us to see that there is going to be some, I would call it some compaction, uh, where the benefits of that Hilton Aspire credit card and diamond status has to be reduced somewhat. I'm not saying that it's happening immediately and you got to rush to do anything, but they obviously need to get that number adjusted where people aren't getting just this high level status for free, quote unquote. You are paying that annual fee. But I'm curious, if you have the Aspire card, do you have concerns about this possibility? Well, not the possibility of them reducing benefits on the diamond tier status. So let me know your thoughts. 25% less for Emirates. This is not surprising as well. Starting on January 13th of 2026, the Capital One ratio will go from 1 to 1 with Emirates and then go to 1 to 1.75. Now, this follows the reductions that we saw happen near the end of 2025 when basically Emirates had basically almost froze everybody that was doing transfers for a period of time. And we heard various different reasons of why it was going to happen, but the devaluation was clearly the case. Now, this will follow American Express going from 1 to a 5 to 4 ratio back on September 16th. Chase ended their transfers with Emirates back on October 16th, and then Citi went from 1 to 5 to 4, just like Amex did, and they did it earlier on July 27th. So this is not surprising that we're seeing something happen with Capital One. So if you are looking to do anything with Emirates and you doing it with your Capital One miles, that is your date. That is, you're going to see devaluation. So make a move on it sooner if you've got something planned to come up. Speaking of other changes, Citi is going to be ending their relationship as a transfer partner with Aeromexico. That's going to happen as of January 25th when that relationship ends. So if you're a person that is fond of Aeromexico, there are still transfer partners that are out there though. Amex is the best one at 1 to 1.6. Barclays is 7 to 5. Brex 3 to 2. Capital is 1 to 1, as well as Mesa and Rove, which we've talked about. Rove, that loyalty program that is not tied to an ecosystem. So those are the quick notes that I have for you at this point. And let me jump over to Vinyl Cover 1987. Appreciate you stopping in, sir. Just got the Aspire this month. 2 additional higher tiers above has me dejected. And that's understandable. I think the thing that will still work out, hopefully, in the short term is you're still getting that unlimited value on that free night award. And I think that you probably if I remember correctly, I think the biggest thing with Diamond is being able to have those upgrades. I think that we'll probably see where that Diamond status upgrade probably does not involve suites. And I think that would be something that would make sense from this new tier system, where we see that kind of fall off to quote unquote a mid-tier level. So hopefully you won't see anything too negative too fast, especially with you just getting it. And we'll make sure to keep our eyes out for what we see with Diamond Reserve. But I don't think it's going to be anything so drastic so fast, but I could easily see that one with the suites be the first part for them to look at. And Carlos, appreciate you stopping in. You have the Hilton Surpass, but no, I'm rethinking upgrading to the Aspire as well. Yeah, it's the same thing as when we talk about lounge access, that if everybody has it, then does anybody really have it? We're seeing where when these things are given, and I keep saying given away, we're all paying hefty annual fees to get these. But when you get too many people that have them, they're always going to be looking to make some adjustments. And so this is the adjustment we're going to start seeing. But I'm hopeful that at least for a period of time, you get especially in your case, Vinyl Cover, to be able to enjoy the full breadth of what you expected from the Aspire, at least for that first year. But it's definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on to see what happens. So let's talk about some lounge issues that are going on. And so with Chase, we have one that opens and another that closes with their Chase Sapphire lounges. So we've heard the announcement that the first lounge that Chase even opened back in January of 20, I'm sorry, it's been a few years now. They're going to be closing the Hong Kong location on January 5th, so right around the corner, 2026. We don't have any reasons of why it's closing. It appears to be permanent as well. And so we don't know if they are going to get out of that business in there at the Hong Kong airport or who might be taking it over. I've not been to Hong Kong yet, definitely something on the bucket list. But there appears to be a lot of different lounges there, from an Amex Centurion lounge, multiple airline lounges, and 3 Plaza premiums. So maybe it's been a case where, as the first one that got there, and maybe they haven't updated it, and maybe it's not getting as much traffic. Obviously, they don't close these lounges if it's making money, or at least not being a significant loss leader for them. But we do have where the Las Vegas location did open this past Wednesday. It is in Terminal 1 in Concourse C near Gate C23. They do have a very wide period of the hours of operation, starting at 4:30 in the morning to 11 p.m. The 11 p.m. is not surprising. 4:30, I was a little surprised that it opened that early. The unfortunate part is it's the second smallest lounge that Chase has. 4,590 square feet. It is on 2 floors, so it is a bit interesting, but it only has capacity for 87 people, which is very unfortunate for an airport that does a lot of business. I've had the opportunity to be at the Amex Centurion Lounge because I go through Vegas at least once a year, and I've got the chance to go to the Capital One Lounge. The last time I was there, really a nice lounge, great service, as opposed to the Amex one, which gets very crowded. Capital One, while I was there, did not seem as much. This one is going to probably have some limited availability, obviously, but they are going to have they have a champagne parlor. Food is curated by Momofuku, which has a standing in Vegas, I think over the last 10 years or so, with one of the restaurants. They will have Dark Moon Coffee Roasters, which is not surprising, a local coffee brewer to be there. And the locations that they have now is Boston, JFK, LaGuardia, Philadelphia, Phoenix, San Francisco, I believe I put down San Diego, and then Dulles. My wife and my son are going to be going through there during Christmas. I'm going to see if they got time and hopefully some availability to get in there to be able to see what it looks like live and be able to report that back to you. One thing to keep in mind is that while the normal access to Sapphire lounges are for cases where you have a Sapphire Reserve card or the Ritz-Carlton card, you do still have the ability with just the Priority Pass to access the Chase Sapphire Lounge one time per year. And that's where I'm hoping that they'll be able to get in. We don't have the Sapphire Reserve or the Ritz-Carlton. So hopefully they can be able to take advantage of popping in there on that Priority Pass. So we'll have to see if that's something that's going to be able to get pulled off and report back to you all on that. Let's move from Chase and let's talk about JetBlue. Now, JetBlue, I've talked about them, and we obviously knew that they were going to be having the JFK location that is to open by the end of this year. Boston was supposed to be early next year. And the main thing that I've talked about with both of those have been in the case of them trying to market their premium credit card at, I think it's $400 and some odd. And the main key is that you get lounge access, but there's been no lounges. So offering a premium credit card with no lounge access didn't make much sense. But we do have some information from their CEO from this past week. And so what we're finding out is that the JFK Lounge is set to open in a couple of weeks before the end of the year. She said, fingers crossed. So we'll take that for what it's worth. It is going to be located in Terminal 5. The problem with it is, after all this time at a major airport, in a major footprint that JetBlue has, pretty much. They've already said it's on the smaller side. it for a more bespoke experience. Now I've not seen anywhere that said exactly what square footage it is, but if you're saying it's on the smaller side for a bespoke experience, it's probably pretty small. Boston is going to be still the second, will still be the second lounge. Unfortunately, it will not open anytime before mid-year of 2026. Now, she did talk about the possibility of what she was calling an outpost of a third lounge location, and that would potentially be Fort Lauderdale. Now, it is a location that Spirit ended up giving up numerous gates as part of their whole financial problems. And JetBlue has kind of jumped in there and increased their footprint there. So it makes sense to look at a lounge there. But I'm going to be very curious of what these look like. I was hoping and expecting, even as a person that is not really, that hasn't flown JetBlue, but I was looking forward to giving a shot to flying it and doing the lounge experience there. Where I'm at in Ohio, JetBlue doesn't come around here a great deal. But the access to these lounges is either top tier Mosaic 4 status, or a card holder of that premium credit card, as I mentioned, and travelers flying to Europe in Mint. Remember, just flying in Mint here in the United States, even if it's cross country, does not get you automatic static access to the JetBlue lounge, which is unfortunate that as far as seeing that. And I see that Carlos, appreciate you stopping in, and got you again, actually. Sorry about that. Went to the Sapphire Lounge in Phoenix this past year and the Capital One Lounge in Vegas. You'll love the food in the Sapphire Lounge. It's much better than Capital One, in your opinion. Well, that's really interesting for that. I thought that Capital One was pretty good. And I think that probably my standards of what I've had at a Centurion and the American Airlines and Capital One has been just kind of like, it's pretty good. And as long as it kind of wets the whistle and feeds me a bit. But I'll definitely be asking my wife and my son about how that might be when they go there. I probably am a few months out before I get a chance to get to a Capital One lounge. But thanks for sharing your opinion on that. Definitely was interested on what might be some of the difference makers of being at a Chase Sapphire lounge. Now let's talk about Mesa. If you've listened to the channel at all, you've heard me talk a lot about Mesa. It is a card. It's basically the first card for mortgage for people with mortgages to get points on their credit card, and they started out just last year. I think near the end of last year, waiting list and all, and I got on that card pretty much as soon as it came out. Done videos to kind of walk through the process and what to expect. Took questions from you all and asked Mesa directly to get you the answers that you needed, because they're pretty much a startup, and I can understand where people might have some concerns of what you're dealing with. Now that we've got about a year in, and I've definitely earned points spent on that credit card, and haven't redeemed yet, but I'm about to with Fairmont through Accor Live Limitless. But they have a new transfer partner, and this one, especially if you've got a hotel near your home or travels point, might be interesting. So Mesa now has a transfer partnership with Omni Hotels. And Mesa is the first transfer partner of Omni Hotels. And the program for Omni is called Omni Select Guest. So as I said, they have a small footprint. When you look at United States, Canada, and Mexico, it's only about roughly 50 locations. But from some of the reviews I've looked at, it does appear to be many of them are well regarded. One of the key things, though, is not just that they became a transfer partner, is the kind of intro offer, as I'll call it. And that intro offer is that if you do a transfer within the first 3 months of this relationship, and this relationship began December 5th, so think of it as maybe March 4th, but don't get too wrapped up in taking, if you're going to do something, don't wait till March, because who knows. You will get Omni Champion status through 2026. Now, Omni Champion status, from what I've had to read about it, is not something small. It is actually their second highest tier that they have. And you would get, with that status, you would get one category room upgrades, 1 p.m. check-in, 3 p.m. checkout. All three of those things are based on availability. You are not guaranteed that, though. You'll get a complimentary daily beverage, and I was surprised to see 4 items of complimentary pressing and shoe shine each day. I'm not a person that normally gets pressing and such when I'm at a hotel or resort. I've only had it done one time, and that was because I had lucked up and got globalist status for about a year, and I did it when I was at an all-inclusive resort for Hyatt. So very good features to be able to look at if you're doing a transfer, but that's not the only good part of this. This loyalty program is one of the simplest and most straightforward that you're probably ever going to find. And that is a case where a free night redemption costs 100 credits per night. Straight away. That's it. Now, that would be 30,000 Mesa points, and you can do a maximum of 120,000 Mesa points in a single transaction. That doesn't mean that's the cap for you. It's just a single transaction. You can do 120,000 points. That is a flat redemption that applies to every Omni hotel. So there are no award charts. There are no off-peak or peak pricing. And if you are going to a destination that has resort fees or destination fees, those are waived with an award night. Now, there are blackout dates that come with this, but I have a landing page for you to be able to see exactly where, what hotels are applicable to those blackout dates, and so that you can be prepared for what that may look like. But I think this has the potential to give some very good outsized value, and that is something that we always want to be able to see. And one of the reasons why I deal with Hyatt so much is to be able to get that outsized value. So definitely make sure to check it out if you have the Mesa card, and if you're looking at Omni, or you have an Omni near your home or your location. Let me know what your thoughts about this. Do you see some value that might be able to come from this? And let me say hello to What's the Point? Appreciate you stopping in, sir. This is another person, if you've not checked out his channel, does some really good work on a lot of different topics. I'm still a little bit behind on the work that he's been doing as of late, but I've always enjoyed being able to watch what he's doing. Just coming in, don't think this new Hilton Diamond Reserve Edition is going to change anything one way or the other. And I think that's going to be interesting. I hope you're right. I unfortunately think that there is going to be some change to those diamond status to try to feed the diamond reserve, especially when it comes to those suites, to be able to get that based upon availability. Now, maybe the diamond might keep that status, and you just have lesser opportunity for it, so that it doesn't look like you're losing something. But I'll be curious if a person normally gets bumped up to suites with Hilton Diamond status, mainly if you're out, overseas. If that person, or you in this case, may see that that availability kind of reduce themselves a little bit. So I hope you're right. What's the points? I definitely don't want to be the most pessimistic person in the room. So I'm hoping you're right. But thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. And Stacy said, Omni has some nice looking hotels. I hope they become a transfer partner to other transferable currency soon. We definitely always want to see some more possibilities that open up. And if this can go well, I think it does have the possibility. That ability to have that flat rate on every hotel that they have is really a great chance to get some to get some really outsized value at some of the higher priced hotels. And I'll tell you this, from the blackout page that I'm going to make sure to put in the description, there might have been only 10 to 15 hotels listed. Now, there were a good amount of blackout dates, but it wasn't necessarily universal. of what they have. So there is going to be some opportunities to be able to get something out of it. But definitely, Mesa continues to grow themselves, even if it's not in the most traditional ways with the airlines and the hotels. I think they are really finding some good sweet spots. Accor Live Limitless, another entity with fixed, basically dealing with credits, where 2,000 points equals about 46 or 47 dollars US. I will be using that right now. I'm trying to figure out, is it better for me to transfer the Mesa points to Accor Live Limitless and do the award from them, or use Mesa's travel portal using Mesa points to stay at that same hotel. So it's something that I'm starting to explore. So I'll make sure to share that with you all once I get that book this weekend. And let me bring, I always like to kind of throw out a couple of new hotels for us to be able to use all these points that we earn. And so I just have a couple of them for you today. One of them is the St. Regis Estates. Now, this is the new premium brand for St. Regis, and this is St. Regis Estates, the resort at Pelican Hill. This resort, I'll call it, or hotel, has been there for quite a long time as an independent hotel there in Newport Beach, California. And as I mentioned, has always been independent. Now, this one won't open till 2027, but if you end up logging in or punching that one up, it is a really nice looking setting that they have over there. So I'll be curious to see what numbers we start talking about, but we're pretty far out. One that we've been waiting on to that is finally going to be opening is the Park Hyatt Los Cabos. Now, this has been a long time in the making with a lot of different delays, and it is located in Cabo del Sol, which is a luxury community there in Los Cabos. And Four Seasons is there, as well as a couple of other boutique hotels, I believe. This Park Hyatt is going to have 163 ocean view guest rooms, suites, and villas, 59,000 square feet of wellness space, a spa, 5 pools, and 5 dining options. They are going to be starting at $700 a night. It is a category 8, which is the top one for Hyatt, so starting at 35,000 points. Now, for Hyatt, that would be 35,000 points off peak, 40,000 points, I believe, if it is the norm, and then 45,000 if it's high season or peak. So this is definitely one when it starts at $700, you know that you can get some really good value using points with that. And I definitely got value when I stayed at the Park Hyatt in Sydney, Australia, which was another high category Hyatt. So one of the big reasons for using Hyatt points is to be able to stay at these places with these points that you earn on this. So, and obviously, whether you're getting the points from the Hyatt credit card or Chase, as well as Bilt, there's a lot of opportunities to be able to earn the points needed. Let's move to the new AAdvantage Pass, which was a bit surprising of what came up and for how much this is costing. So I'll be, if you're a person that normally is looking for status with American Airlines or fly them often, I'm going to be very curious of what your thoughts are with this. So what this AAdvantage Pass comes with is you will get AAdvantage Gold status, you'll get 100,000 bonus AAdvantage miles, and you'll get 15,000 loyalty points. You can have all of that for the low price of $5,000. I was blown away that it was that high. But let's talk about what you get with it so that you have all the information. But there's also one excellent twist if you did want to do this. So AAdvantage Gold will come with, normally has priority check-in and boarding, a free checked bag, 40% mileage bonus on the flights, as well as complimentary upgrades on domestic flights. You'll get OneWorld Ruby status, which is okay, and the availability to do upgrades on Alaska Airlines. So not bad. Don't necessarily have a dollar figure to attach to that. When it comes to the bonus miles, that's probably, if we went with the standard amount per mile, that's about $1,550. So we're way off that $5,000 that they're trying to charge. I don't think we're going to see a lot of people take advantage of this at that price. But if you are interested in doing this deal, The best benefit of it is going to be that, at least as of right now, and I must give credit to Frequent Miler for notice from I think they followed up with American Airlines. The coding for that $5,000 comes as an American Airlines purchase. That allows, so if you have an American Airlines credit card, such as the executive card, you can get 4x on that $5,000. So you would earn 20,000 points for that $5,000 spend, as well as getting 5,000 loyalty points. Excellent opportunity. Now, I'll be curious to see how long they continue to do that. But if you are having any interest in doing that, maximize that purchase by getting it with an American Airlines credit card. So I want to make sure that you're aware of that. So just want to be able to share that with you all. And I see what's the points ended up saying a nice alternative to the Waldorf at Cabo. I've not had the opportunity to be over there. I've heard it's really nice. But yes, this should give a really good opportunity to be over there. And we obviously like being able to see a luxury place on points. And that AA promo is worth $3,000 max, terrible value. Completely agree. I am shocked that they came out that high on it when it's so easy to calculate what the true value could be. So hopefully we'll see people, hopefully we'll see that not many people get it and they bring down the price to something that's a little more realistic, especially if it got down to say $4,000 and you still got that American Airlines purchase bonus and they treated it as a purchase. So maybe that would help as well. So, but let's move on from there. So the next item I want to share with you is that United cardholders can now earn 2x on your rent if you're going through Bilt. Now, this one is a bit interesting, but I like the fact of how wide of a variety this is. So this applies to all of the consumer credit cards for United. So that includes the no annual fee United Gateway card, which I was a little surprised we got to see. So the Gateway, the Explorer, Quest, Club, and the Presidential Plus, which you can't get anymore, but some people do have it. Now, it's not, unfortunately, just as simple of what that 2x is going to get you. 2x is going to get you 1 point per dollar, as will be classified as Bilt rent card member bonus miles. And the other point is going to be classified as United Mileage Plus award miles. So you do not have the choice of how they're doing that. So getting something is good. It's not the best way to see it. The other part you have to be concerned about of doing this, which probably is the unfortunate killer of you doing it, is the fact that the 3% transaction fee still applies. So you do have to pay that out. So 3% transaction fee, but you're only getting 2% back. Probably not a good deal. And partly to what we talked about a bit earlier was the fact that of getting value out of these points with United, which is a perfect example, versus Alaska on their consumer cards, as I mentioned, you can get 3x, and they're all Alaska miles. They don't make you split them. And that 3x, at least on the surface, is a break even, but you have the opportunity to use those Alaska miles in a lot of different opportunities through OneWorld and the other outlets that they have to get more mileage out of that. So it's at least it's something available for United card holders, but it's probably not going to work out really for anybody. Let's move to La Premiere. Now, La Premiere is first class for Air France and relatively exclusive, very outstanding on the ground experience, getting taken on the tarmac. I think it's in a Porsche, if I remember correctly. On there, if you go there, you have your own private room if it's in Paris, and an outside porch area. Beautiful setting. It's one of, I'd be curious if anybody thinks differently. I think it is the most difficult first class flight to do on points, and I say regular points, like the Super Saver level. We can always pay 350 to 400,000 points for a lot of things. But to really get first class at the regular rate, this is the one that you can't really get it. It's very difficult to. So let's talk about it briefly. So La Premiere availability is going to expand to 4 additional cities over the next few months. 3 of them are going to be in the United States. The 4 cities are Atlanta, Boston, Houston, and then Tel Aviv. Atlanta to Paris is going to start March 29th of next year. Boston to Paris will start July 20th. Houston will start July 6th. And then Tel Aviv to Paris is beginning this month. Now, by the summer of 2026, La Premiere will be available in Atlanta, Boston, Houston, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, San Francisco, and then DC. As I mentioned, it's one of the most difficult first-class flights to get by the way of points. So getting more opportunities because they're flying from the more locations in the United States is helpful. The reason that it's hard for us to be able to do it if you're in this game is because the awards are limited to platinum and ultimate tiers, which are the top 2 tiers of Flying Blue. Now, there is a small possibility. Now, I'd be curious if you've been able to do this or you know of someone that's done it. I've only heard about it a couple of times, where if you have business class, that you can then have the possibility to get an upgrade that you can do on points. But that's it. Now, the interesting thing, if you were trying to do that in this case, La Premiere has just changed its footprint on the plane of the 777-300ER. It's much nice. I won't say much nicer. It was really nice before, but they've made some improvements on that service. That new layout is only available on the 777-300ER. At the same time, there's a new business class for Air France, but it's on the A350-900. So unfortunately, if you really wanted to try to have the best of both worlds, possibly, that you would be able to get into the new business class setup and then still have the possibility of the new La Premiere setup, that is not available because they're on 2 separate planes. But the new redesigned La Premiere should be available from JFK and LAX in July of 2026. And then by the end of next year, the redesigned layout should be available system-wide. So this just gives us more opportunities to be able to possibly pull off this deal. That's the kind of thing I was looking at for this. So it'll be interesting. See what's the points ended up saying for 2x miles. The only reason to do build on a UA card is if you're working on a sub. Yeah, if you're there's really no other reason for it. I think it's kind of a token thing to kind of throw out there, but clearly there's just not enough value to be able to pull that off to make it worthwhile. But definitely, if you're doing your sign-up bonus, I agree with you. So let's talk about these devaluations that we have. We have one that at least try to do us a solid by giving us a heads up. And then we have one that chose not to and really drastically gutted one incredible sweet spot that I was not able to do for myself. So British Airways, they're going to devalue their Avios, and that they at least told us that that's going to happen on December 15th. And the increase will impacts cash and award flights. Now, the reasons that they give are not surprising. Taxes, fees are increasing due to inflation and such, so not too much from here from that. But they also gave us a few examples of what these increases will look like. So I wanted to basically share those with you. If you're flying from London to Geneva in economy, you're going from 9,250 to 10,000 Avios to be able to do it. London to Geneva in business, you're going from 15,000 to 16,500. Now, if you look at the round trip flights from London to New York, though, you're going from 50 to 55,000 in economy. Premium economy, you're going to go from 85,000 to 93,500. Business, 160,000 to 176,000 points. And then first class will go from 136,000 to 150,000, but you're definitely going to take a huge hit on taxes, fees, and surcharges. So if you had a plan to fly British Airways and utilize Avios, and you already know it and you're prepared to do it, just make sure to take advantage of this before the devaluation happens on December 15th, so that you don't miss out on as much value of these points as you possibly could. The one now that we have to talk about is Turkish miles and smiles, and we have unfortunately we have now seen an end to one of the really good sweet spots to use Turkish miles and smiles here in the United States. And so what we have is um, the sweet spot was basically using Turkish miles and smiles to fly United Airlines, which is Star Alliance, especially if you were flying even from the mainland to Hawaii. Now, I say it's a great sweet spot. Obviously, the best sweet spots are the hardest to get. And I never was able to get to swing it, even though I spent a lot of time trying to get it. Just could not do it. Now, thanks to Loyalty Lobby for being able to point out these devaluations and how massive these are. So let's just, for example, take the one-way rate from the mainland to Hawaii. In economy, if you could do it, if you could find it, that was 2,000 miles one way. That is going up 50% to 15,000. And then if you were doing economy for Hawaii, I'm sorry, yeah, within Hawaii, 10,000 goes to 25,000. But business is going from 15,000 to 22,500. Flying business to Hawaii, and let me make sure I say this right. I'm basically talking about the mainland points to the mainland to Hawaii. So that's the difference of what I'm mentioning. So the flying economy to Hawaii is going from 10,000 to 25,000 points. That's a 150% jump. Business within the United mainland is going from 15,000 to 22,500 for a 50% change, just like we saw for economy. But the business to get to Hawaii is going from 15,000 to 40,000. That's a 167% jump. And then first class, 20,000 to 30,000 points on the mainland for that same 50% jump. But if you're flying Hawaii, it's 20,000 to 50,000 points for 50% change. Unfortunately, like I said, we didn't get a chance to even be able to prepare for this if we could even find it. So like I said, if you were able to do it, congratulations that you got to be able to do it before these massive changes for it. For those that didn't, it's on to the next one to try to find the next thing that we could be able to pull off here. What's the point? Said he got to head out to catch replay. Appreciate it, and thanks for mentioning about hitting the like button. Really appreciate it. What's the points? You have a great day. And Stacy said, when was this devaluation going to occur? So the devaluation for Turkish has already happened. They didn't give us any heads up, and that's why I give the credit to Loyalty Lobby for their blog. They ended up seeing that, and that's the first entity blogger or website that I saw that talked about it. So we just didn't get any heads up on it, and it's gone just like that. So unfortunately, so just want to make sure. So I think that's about everything. I finally have gotten some videos that are going to be coming out. I've just been getting killed with work, but look forward to getting some things out for you. You should be seeing the Go Wild Pass should be out. I'm getting it to the members today that are part of the advisory board. And if you're interested, the membership advisory board is a membership where I end up providing the videos a day ahead before I bring them out to people. And I will normally do either a live stream or recording of just information that I'm getting throughout the week that I just share with the members that are more timely because things change constantly. And then make sure to basically communicate with them as far as ideas, thoughts, and opinions. So if you're interested in considering it, there'll be a link in the description to consider. And if it doesn't end up fitting you and you join, you can always drop out, and no harm, no foul. This live stream will always continue as a public one for everybody. I enjoy doing it, and I'm hoping it's beneficial to everybody. But I'll be having the Go Wild Pass come out on Monday. They have a reduced price on it, but I did a really deep look at who it could be for in a credit card hack to be able to help out with it. So make sure to look out for that. I also have the Verizon credit card, which is an interesting one. Now that's niche if you have Verizon service, but if it is, there are really some good components of it that I'll have in that video that'll talk about that, as well as a few others that should be coming around the corner. So make sure to like and subscribe to the channel and have the notifications on. Cannot thank you all enough for spending a bit of your time my Sunday morning in whatever time frame it is for where you're located. But if you have any questions or anything, always put them in the comment section if you're not able to do it live. I make sure to check all the comments and make sure to respond to everything that I end up seeing. Want to thank you all so much for taking you all's time, and I will talk with you all soon. You all take care.